On an October afternoon in 1975, our own Don Garlits was the first to eclipse that mark. The sport waited until 1984 for Joe Amato to challenge Garlits' claim to the title, King of Speed. He did so by surpassing the 260-mile-per-hour mark in Gainesville, Florida. 2 years later, once again in Gainesville, unveiling his revolutionary Swamp Rat 30, Garlits answered that challenge, riding his new steed down the quarter mile past the 270-mile-per-hour dream. Amato and crew labored for 18 months before a September blast in Indianapolis that made surpassing 280 a reality in 1987. And at that point, fans of the sport were wondering just how fast could they go. Then, in 1989, an old warrior decided to enter the joust. Seasoned veteran Connie Coletta threw down the gauntlet, becoming the first one to achieve 290. That historic triumph took place here in Pomona, California, where today NBC Sports World presents coverage of the 32nd annual Chief Auto Parts Winternationals and the quest for 300 miles per hour. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Myers. Welcome to the first race of the National Hot Rod Association's new season. It's the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals in Pomona. There is definitely a new need for speed in the top fuel division. What was once thought of as only a dream is now truly attainable, and that's the 300-mile-an-hour barrier. I'm in the pit area of Connie Coletta, who's already out of the competition this weekend, but he was the first driver to surpass 290 miles an hour. Earlier today, we spoke with some of the drivers in this weekend's competition about that new goal.
300's the magical number. Everybody'd like to do it. You can see the speeds have gone up. I mean, 290 is getting to be common. You know, the Snake ran 296 testing up in Bakersfield. I think it's going to happen, but not for 6, 8, 10 months.
It may be the last milestone in drag racing. I mean, let's face it, 4-second zone is all gone, and to get to the threes, I'm certainly not going to be around when that happens. And 300 is the next thing that's popped up, and it's the closest thing that we're to. So when someone does that, that's the first. I mean, you can remember when Chris Karamazini's won 200. Everyone still remembers who did that first. Same thing with Eddie Hill in the 4 seconds. 300's the same thing.
It's just going to take a good track like we got here at Pomona and some good air. And we're going to get it. Either us or Amato or Austin or one of the cars are going to click that 300. But things just have to be right, and they're just not right yet.
There are other angles on this rapidly developing story, not the least of which is the mechanical side. And with more on that, let's check in with Steve Evans.
Thank you, Joel. You know, I have a feeling there's some automotive buffs at home saying, hey, if they're that close to 300 miles an hour, why not just simply raise the gear ratio in that housing there? They'd get more speed at the same RPM. Well, you see, they would if they could, but they can't because NHRA says the tallest gear they can run is a 320, and everybody already has that. Well, what about a bigger tire, you say? That'd do it. Well, you see, they would if they could, but they can't. NHRA says 17 inches across, 114 inches around. That's as big a tire as you can run. But there's a brand new Goodyear that is debuted here at this event. A lot of crew chiefs feel that it grows more than the usual foot. Even 2 inches of growth would be about 4 miles an hour. Dale Armstrong is hoping that that's true because he's got those tires on his car. Now, you can have the greatest crew chief in the world and the greatest car and driver. If you don't have a good racing surface, you don't have good racing. Here is Big Daddy Don Garlits with the trackside story.
Steve, that lighter portion on your screen is the concrete launch pad. And as you're aware, it's been very difficult to go quick here at Pomona. But since the Winston finals, some major changes have taken place. NHRA has extended that launch pad from 70 feet to a whopping 330 feet. The net result, the quickest top fuel and funny car field in the history of the sport. Was the $60,000 that NHRA spent on this project worth it? How about a new top fuel ET record, 4.89 seconds? And on top of that, a new track record of 4.88 seconds by Doug Herbert.
And Steve, let's take a look at that improbable run by Doug Herbert.
Herbert was in the far lane in round one competition earlier, up against Ed McCullough. McCullough smoked the tires. Herbert smoked the timers. The quickest run in NHRA history, 4.88 seconds.
That's great. I can't even believe it. 488 that's awesome. It's my kid's birthday today, so this one's for him.
But despite that 488, it's this man, Pat Austin, who has a new national record of 489 in qualifying, backed up within the required 1% by NHRA with this, 490. Pat Austin has it.
These things are flying, right? Aren't they? I don't know what to say. I just know the guys are doing a great job, and it's the consistency that's going to pay off, I hope, and I think that's what's going to win races.
But the pursuit of performance is not always met with success. Now watch the wings on the front of the dragster on the left side of your screen. That's the car driven by Jimmy Nix, Don.
When that wing broke, it removed 1,000 pounds of downforce off the front of the car. Jimmy Nix never knew what happened. The car crashed back to the strip, tearing the rear end out of it, breaking the fuel lines, and the engine obviously was blown up, and the oil with the nitromethane was coming out. It caught on fire, and all goes back into the cockpit. You saw the body shred completely. That meant that all of this fire was going in with Nix. You can see it's in the cockpit with him. He's traveling about 150 miles an hour, and he is helpless. He wants this car to hit something to stop, and it does. It hits the sand trap, it puts the fire out, and the car runs into the NHRA safety net.
Just like throwing sand on your campfire, it extinguished the blaze. NHRA's safety safari team was right on the scene, and they were frankly a little amazed by what they found. Jimmy Nix had been conscious through the entire incident. All of his safety equipment had done its job, but still they choppered him to the hospital. And preliminary reports, Jimmy Nix with second-degree burns to his hands only.
Truly incredible, Steve, that he did not come out of that accident with more severe injuries. We're ready now for round 2 in the Top Fuel division, and backing into position, veteran who's coming off a sensational season. He's got the in-car camera working for us today. That's Kenny Bernstein.
And you got to love that shot. The camera mounted on that tall wing over the rear axle they use for maximum downforce. Now, Jack Ostrander here in the near lane manages a bowling alley in Michigan. Longtime racer, had 2 horrific Jimmy Nix-style crashes last year, and here he is again to start the new season.
That's one of the risks of that quest for 300 miles an hour, Steve. You got everything on the edge of the envelope.
Well, Kenny Bernstein last year tied a record winning 6 national events in a single season. So you might think Ostrander is a big underdog. Not so. Kenny has been struggling. Their performances so far are not that far apart. Jack Ostrander is in this one with Bernstein.
A lot of pressure on Dale Armstrong, Steve. Every run is a do or die. They haven't got that edge on the car like they generally have, you know, on the competitors. But that one looked pretty good.
It was Bernstein's best of the event, a 501 at 280 miles an hour. Jack Ostrander obviously having some problems.
So Kenny Bernstein coming through in round 2, advancing into the semifinals in the Top Fuel division. We continue with round 2 once again, and we're looking at the car of Jim Head.
Jim Head struggled to get into this field. He qualified 13th, a car out of Columbus, Ohio. He's a multi-time winner in the funny car category. Is yet to score big in Top Fuel, but he's got a huge break going here. The man he should be racing, Michael Brotherton, earlier in round 1, suffered from a bad case of winning the battle, losing the war.
Brotherton in round 1 was facing Robert Reel in the near lane, and everything was going fine, Don, until the end of the race.
It looked like Brotherton just had a nice, easy pass till the engine exploded. We see the parachutes getting burned. The car has run nearly 290 miles an hour. Brotherton cannot get it stopped. He tries desperately to save the car, not go into the net. That was a mistake. He turns the car over on its side.
So it was a wrecked dragster for Michael Brotherton, getting out of the car okay, but he didn't want to believe that he was out of the competition.
Michael, you almost pulled it off. You almost
tried to save it. I mean, I knew we won. I don't know what happened. It come apart in the lights.
Chutes burned off.
Yeah, well, Ronnie said they come out, but they just fell on the ground. They were wadded up. I tried to get it to slide to a stop so we could race next round because I saw the wind light come on and a lot of fire in the cockpit. I don't know. It's a little tweaked. It ain't broken, too. We got A-frames in the trailer. We might give it a shot.
Oh, what a miracle that would be.
Well, miracles were not to be a part of the day for Michael Brotherton, but what a break for Jim Head. He gets a solo run, and as you can see, he is having engine problems in his bye run. So relief for his team as they advance to the next round.
This is NBC's Sports World, and today it's brought to you by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of all the professional NHRA World Champions. By Craftsman, a line of 1,600 hand tools made in America, guaranteed forever. By Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And by GMC Truck, the strength of experience.